A strong breeze moves through the house. Neither of them speaks for half a minute. The rabbit man grunts and then places a hand to its head, as if it were in pain. Dr. Jappers places his hand against the teapot. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we bring you SCP Foundation Keter Class Object SCP-4000. SCP-4000, also known as Taboo, is a forest world with numerous anomalous creatures. When mentioning anything about SCP-4000, any person, place, or thing inside it, one may not use names or titles to describe them. Instead, one may only use a unique, drawn-out description. For example, the woods where you need to speak carefully, or the glen of stolen names. At least one exploration of SCP-4000 needs to take place per year. To enter 4000, subjects need to perform a certain ritual. And after completing said ritual, subjects emerge from the opening of a dilapidated brick well fixed into the forest floor. The only way to reliably traverse the unusual terrain is by walking down a single dirt path. The sole safe road may only be traversed in a single direction, and any attempt by subjects to turn back and return the way they came will result in loss of contact. The only way for a subject to safely exit the woods is by walking its entire length and returning to the place where they began, which happens to be all the way at the opposite end. The anomalous creatures that live in 4000 often undergo changes in physical structure when unobserved, which has made it difficult for researchers to determine the scope of the entities that inhabit the planet. Some are often confused with newer iterations of those previously documented. These creatures claim they have no control over these changes and frequently express dissatisfaction when they occur. Some of the creatures are hostile, but others are trustworthy. If someone uses a consistent name or title for SCP-4000 or any singular person, place, or thing inside it, weird things happen. Typically, one might experience hallucinations or appearances of 4000 creatures in their matter in the real world. There are strict rules that subjects must follow when enter 4000. Among them are a few hand-picked rules that all subjects who enter should always remember. Don't call anything, including yourself, by a consistent name or answer to a consistent name. Politely decline non-physical gifts or attempts to initiate a trade. You may accept food offered to you, but do not consume it yourself. If a creature appears to require your assistance, consider its appearance before choosing to help. If the entity appears threatening, do whatever is necessary to aid it. If the entity appears attractive or harmless, do not approach. The following is the conversation between Dr. Eugene Jappers and a SCP-4000 creature known as the Rabbit Man. This conversation was transcribed over the course of several years. In 2005, the first expedition into the forest, Dr. Eugene Jappers had met the gentleman with the leporine visage.
Good morning, strange traveler.
Good morning.
It's nice to see a new face around these parts. How is your name?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I can't tell you that.
I'm merely asking how your name is. My name has smelt of raspberries lately, I think, or snapdragons perhaps. It's so hard to tell these days, but one tries.
My apologies. I'm afraid my name has tasted rather tart as of late.
No, I'm the one who should apologize. I shouldn't have pried.
It's quite all right. It has been lovely to meet you, but I must be on my way.
Must you though? My home is close by, and I was hoping to invite you in for tea.
I'm terribly sorry, but unfortunately, I cannot stop at this moment. Perhaps another day.
Very well. Until next time, stranger whose name tastes rather tart.
3 years later, Dr. Jappers met with Rabbit Man again during his fourth expedition. Dr. Jappers crests a hill and discovers his hare-like acquaintance tending to a patch of cabbages.
Good afternoon, stranger. Except, pardon me, we've met before, haven't we?
Good afternoon. I believe so, yes. 3 years ago, if memory serves.
I remember now. You ran off in quite a hurry. You are not from here. What woods are you from?
I do not come from any woods.
Nonsense. Certainly, you have trees where you're from, do you not?
We do have trees, but they're very sparse. Most of the land is covered in homes and businesses.
Then they are inferior woods, but woods nonetheless. Tell me, how did you get here?
I see you have an inquiring mind. I would like to ask you a question, if that's all right.
Pardon my lack of manners. I consider myself something of a scholar, you see, and I get a bit excited when I have a chance to learn of forests outside my own. By all means, pose your question.
When we last met, you said it had become difficult to describe your name. Do you have any theories for why that may be?
I can only assume it's because of how long we've been apart. My name and I, that is. It was a good name, a proud name. I'm fairly sure of that. But by this point, however, it's probably decayed from its former grandeur, if it even still exists. Now, fellow scholar, you must answer my previous question.
I came through the old well at the end of the footpath. I am presently perambulating.
Oh my, it's been quite some time. I'll be frank, I thought all the old allies had died out. Did your grandfather or some such relation have a lover out there?
My deepest apologies. I'm afraid I cannot answer that question.
I understand. I'd invite you to my cottage for tea, but I suppose that's not possible for you, is it? Take this and be on your way.
Thank you very much. Dr. Jappers later used the cabbage leaf to feed a creature resembling a field mouse, which in turn aided him on his travels. In 2013, Dr. Jappers was sent in again for the 9th time in hopes to conduct a more thorough interview with the Rabbit Man. Additionally, Dr. Jappers was granted special permission to make false statements for the sake of facilitating conversation. During his first encounter, the fluffy one was quite susceptible to deception, and Dr. Jappers wanted to exploit this weakness. This time, traveling along the way of weary adventure, Dr. Jappers encounters a small white cottage with a thatched roof. A small opening in the shape of a rabbit's head is cut into the front door. Dr. Jappers approaches it and knocks. Hello? Is anyone home?
Yes, 1 minute.
Exactly 1 minute passed. The door opened.
Ah, we meet again. Please, come in, come in.
You have a lovely home.
I suppose. It was just meant to be temporary, or at least until things cooled down on the other side. But, well, you know.
I'm afraid I don't know. Would you like some help?
No. You just have yourself a seat at the table over there while I get the tea ready for us.
You are most kind. Tell me, could you explain what you meant by cooled down?
Your relations didn't tell you the full story, I suppose, about the turmoil that drove us here.
Turmoil? Was there a war?
My grandparents told me there were wars, but I never knew of one with you and your kind. It doesn't surprise me. There are very few, even in these woods, who still remember. Memory is the burden of the old, I suppose. But yes, when I was a young lad, in a form quite different from the one I possess now, I lived on the other end of the well. It's where I was born. In fact, it's where I grew up. And if I dare to dream, where I will someday return.
Why don't you, then?
I can't. Not unless I could know for certain that I'd be welcomed back. I'm sure you don't know this, since they keep themselves hidden, but there are those who would destroy me at their first chance. My apologies. These are dark memories. I'm sure you don't want to hear about them.
No, please go on. These things are of interest to me. I am a fellow scholar, remember?
As you wish, fellow scholar. I shall talk until the tea is cold. Much as it grieves me to say it, we were betrayed. We had fought side by side, in the war against that factory. We had done nothing but help them. And what did they do? They destroyed us. They took so many of our lives and all of our names. Some of us fled here when the war was just beginning, but not many. Still though, I don't hate them.
I'm glad for that.
I'd imagine so. There are some old fogies around these parts who bear a grudge against the whole species. But I know you're not all bad. There were many who sheltered us and fought for us. There were even some who died for us. Some came to live here amongst us, rest their souls. I, myself, courted a human once upon a time. He came to visit a time or two, but I never saw him after that. I still wonder now and again if he fell at the hand of an unkind neighbor, or if he merely stopped caring to see me. But it's no matter now. I apologize for prattling on about old flames. Certainly, such things are of no interest to you, fellow scholar.
On the contrary, I like to hear more of these stories. The life of you and your people is of great interest to me. A strong breeze moves through the house.
Neither of them speaks for half a minute.
The rabbit man grunts and places a hand to its head, as if in pain. Dr. Jappers places his hand against the teapot. It appears the tea has gotten cold. I think it's time for me to leave.
What? You're leaving? I should leave too then.
No. I'll be going alone, thank you. It's abrupt, yes, and I'm grievously sorry to do this, but I really must be going. I believe I'm long overdue to return home.
Stop! What have you done? I don't know who... What happened to my name? I can't!
Dr. Jappers quickly exits the house. Rabbit Man whimpers and looks at its hands as he leaves.
It does taste rather tart.
After the encounter, Dr. Jappers successfully returned to Site-08, but was later reported missing. Investigations into his disappearance and current whereabouts have been inconclusive. However, the Foundation found some white fur on his expedition gear. Alright, I know you're now confused and lost, so let me explain it to you. Remember in the beginning, we listed a few rules to follow when someone enters SCP-4000? Well, we emphasized the fact that you can never call anything by a consistent name or answer to a consistent name. But unfortunately, Dr. Jappers referred to himself as a fellow scholar and accepted when the rabbit also referred to him as a fellow scholar, one too many times. After the strong breeze moved through the house, their identities had been swapped. The human who should really be Dr. Jappers is now the Rabbit Man, while the one who later gets up and leaves to come back to our world was previously the Rabbit Man. It's been proven that SCP-4000 is stealing names from people. But who are they really? Why are they trying to steal names? And how did SCP-4000 appear to this world?
The deer contained within the cell stirred as it regained consciousness from heavy sedation. Cryptozoology specialist Oz stood in front of a large one-way glass window at the side of the room. Subject has regained consciousness. Beginning interview with 6448. The deer suddenly bolted upright and stared at the intercom. It stood facing away from the window. Suddenly, its neck swiveled 180 degrees with an audible crack, visibly breaking multiple vertebrae. Christ almighty! I thought you said this was one way! The deer's gaze remained locked on Oz. It didn't blink. Okay. Are you something imitating deer? The deer opened its mouth, baring its sharp teeth. Its jaw moved in a manner that seemed to imitate speech. As its movement went against how the mouth of a deer usually would, some of the muscle got twisted and torn. However, no intelligible dialect was uttered, rather a sound similar to gagging. It then blinked for the first time in the interview, but the movement appeared noticeably forced. The deer screamed in Oz's distorted voice and collapsed. Its body contorted violently and began writhing. Then it got back up and rammed against the window repeatedly. Get the stags in here now! Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today, we bring you SCP Foundation Keter Class Object SCP-6448. SCP-6448, also known as Not Deer, is an anomalous branch of the deer animal. All members of this group of deer display heightened intelligence and are presumed to be sapient. Most specimens exhibit some form of physical malformation, causing them to stand out from the non-anomalous ones. While the exact details of their physical abnormalities differ between instances, commonalities include legs that bend backwards, bloated abdomen, emaciation, having eyes belonging to other animals and sometimes humans, forward-facing eyes, jerky movements, lack of fear towards humans, tendency to walk on two hind legs, and general body disfigurements.
Aside from physical deformations, instances show severe divergence from the behavior of other deer. Namely, 6448 are known to watch, observe, and stalk humans, often for hours or days on end. This includes following humans to and from their homes, wherein they will proceed to steal belongings, weapons, and food. Very rarely will they attack victims while they are indoors. 6448 is most commonly encountered in deep woodlands, particularly at night or dusk when a person is alone. Any form of direct acknowledgement of 6448's anomalous traits in these situations will always result in the victim's termination. If you notice a deer that just looks off, look away and ignore it. If it knows that you've noticed it, then it's too late. If you hear your name or whistling or something else in the woods calling for you, don't acknowledge it. Never acknowledge its existence. Don't respond, don't go looking for it, and don't call out to it. If you're walking at night and you feel something breathing on your neck or whispering just behind you and the hairs on your neck stand up, do not turn around. You do not change the pace at which you're walking, you continue, you ignore. If one's onto you, well, you'd better hope it ignores you too. Scofield scoffed at the cryptic warning on the fence. I've been in the Foundation for 3 years. I've seen things, from some weird refrigerator to a mighty dragon. What's a little deer gonna do? He pushed past the opening and entered the cabin. Jackson followed vigilantly behind. No, seriously, this is a waste of time. What the hell are we doing in some woods in the middle of nowhere? Careful, Scofield. A civilian was killed by it according to the reports, and it wasn't the first time either. We're here to investigate, and if necessary, terminate the anomaly. Scofield cocked his rifle and put it on the desk. He then handed his pistol to Jackson. Don't have to tell me what to do. This is just like the hunting trip I used to go on with my dad. Here, have my pistol if you're so scared. Scofield, I'd prefer if you'd take this more seriously. Scofield walked out of the cabin and scanned his surroundings. He could see some woodland critters and some deer in the distance. Well, I guess this is a nice change of scenery. I'm due for a break anyway. Look, I brought some incident reports with us. Just look through them if you have the time. Yeah. Nothing happened during the first few nights. However, on the 5th day, the cabin had a break-in. They watched the footage of the surveillance camera and saw a deer smashing through the door. It looked around at first and then at the camera. It stood up on its hind legs and reached towards the camera. Its frontal hooves had been warped to resemble fingers. We slept through all of that? How did we not hear the door? I'll stay up and keep watch tonight. Rest easy, Jackson. If I see that thing, I'll make sure that it's dead. That night, Scofield heard his name being called faintly from outside the cabin. It was like a scream in a voice he didn't recognize. He grabbed his rifle and ran out immediately. Come on out now, enough games. I know your tricks and it won't fool me. He saw a deer, noticeably larger, standing still among the bushes under the moonlight. He fired a shot in its direction and missed. Damn it. He loaded the next round and took aim, but the deer was already gone. Jackson came running behind him. Scofield, what are you doing out here? What's going on? I saw the deer. Probably scared it away though. If I see it again, let's go. As they turned to leave, Jackson glanced at the woods and shuddered when he saw two eyes glowing in the dark, staring at them. The next day, Scofield woke up to find Jackson missing. He looked out the cabin and it started raining. Probably went out to retrieve the camera. Took my rifle too. Bored, he recalled Jackson mentioning the case reports. He opened the envelope and found a tape inside. It was a recorded footage taken by a woman. The video began with a woman rustling the camera. Visibly shaken, she struggled to set it up on the table. Scofield paused and looked around the cabin. Wait a minute, is that here? The woman jumped when she heard a knock on the door. She slowly moved further away from it as the knocking became more violent. The handle was being jostled and shaken incessantly. A voice on the other side repeated the phrase, "Hello, it is me. Hello, let me in," in a calm manner as the door shook. The woman then grabbed a gun and retreated to the wardrobe. The knocking ceased, and footsteps could be heard becoming further away. Shortly after, sound of galloping was audible as a deer busted in through the door. Its jaw moved and repeated the phrase once more. "Hello, it is me. Hello, let me in." The deer stood on its hind legs. Its movements were crooked and stiff. Then it slouched down to a quadrupeded position like a spider and surveyed the cabin. It inhaled heavily, and suddenly its head locked in on the direction of the wardrobe that the woman had taken refuge in. It scampered towards the wardrobe and forcefully opened it. The woman screamed and fired a single shot, but was immediately pummeled to death by the abomination. The entity remained still for a moment, then looked towards the camera. "Oh my God, are those human eyes?" Scofield slowly walked towards the wardrobe and opened it, but it had already been cleaned before they got there. Just then, he received a mail on his tablet. It was yet another footage sent by the Foundation. The message read, "Just so you know what you're dealing with there, stay vigilant and good luck." The footage began with researcher Oz conducting an interview with what looked like a deer in a containment cell. Scofield became increasingly irate as the interview went on. "What do you mean, know what you're dealing with? It's a deer! A deer! So what if it can stand up and crawl around like a spider? It's nothing but a deer!" Suddenly, a mass of black, viscous tendrils erupted out of the deer's sides. It leaped and squirmed around the cell before shattering the window. The remaining carcass was left entirely hollow. The black mass maneuvered swiftly out of the facility and disappeared into the outside shrubbery, wounding and killing multiple Foundation personnel along the way. "What the hell is this thing?" "No, Jackson." Scofield grabbed the pistol and rushed out of the cabin. "Jackson! Jackson! Where are you? Answer me!" Scofield called as he ventured deeper into the woods. Soon enough, his surroundings became darker as the vegetation got denser. He could feel that something was stalking him and watching him. Suddenly, he heard a voice calling his name. "Scofield! Scofield!" the voice repeated. Though distorted and faint, he could discern that it was trying to imitate Jackson's voice. "Damn you! Stop messing with me and come out!" He heard thumping sounds and leaves rustling from afar. Closing in on the sound, he finally found the source. A bloody deer with forward-bending legs and covered in viscera, running clumsily and ramming against a tree with incredible force, over and over again. Next to the tree was a mangled-up body of a man. Scofield recognized the uniform. It was Jackson's. "What the hell?" The Not Deer noticed Scofield and turned its attention towards him jerkily. "Take this! Die! Die!" Scofield unloaded his pistol and shot down the Not Deer, but still it writhed and shrieked in pain. As he turned to run, the entity lunged at him and pinned him down. Its deformed hooves pounded repeatedly on Scofield. He tried to defend himself against its onslaught, but couldn't. Suddenly, a mass of tendrils burst through its abdomen and continued to ravage him. Scofield stopped struggling. He was left barely breathing as the tendrils slowly tightened their grip around his body. Days later, their bodies were recovered in an unrecognizable state next to a hollowed-out deerskin. No traces of the tendrils were found.
They went further than just killing them. They slaughtered their living machines and burned their vast shining cities with SCP-1000's bioweapons, reduced everything to slurry and dust that washed or blew away in spring rain and wind. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we bring you SCP Foundation Keter Class Object SCP-1000. SCP-1000, also known as Bigfoot, is a nocturnal, omnivorous ape classified in the Hominini branch adults range in size from 5 to 10 feet in height and weigh between 90 and 270 kilograms. They have gray-brown, black, red, and occasionally white fur. They possess large eyes with good vision, a pronounced brow ridge, and a sagittal crest on the forehead similar to that of the gorilla, but present in both sexes. Their intelligence is on par with that of common chimpanzee. SCP-1000 evolved alongside humans until 10,000 to 15,000 years ago.
when an extinction event eliminated 95 to 99% of their population. This event was triggered by 1000 contracting an anomalous pseudo-disease classified as SCP-1000-F1. This disease is passed on at the genetic level, but the majority of SCP-1000 instances are born immune to the effect. Those who are not born immune quickly die. SCP-1000-F1 will affect only hominids, including humans, that directly or indirectly observes any instances of SCP-1000. The observer has a minimum 2% chance of being instantly killed through anomalous means, via permanent cessation of brain function. This percentage is cumulative, and the longer a human views 1000, the chance of instantaneous death increases. This effect varies between individual members of SCP-1000 species, with some individuals carrying a death chance of 90%. Because of SCP-1000's close relation to humanity, it is considered likely that SCP-1000-F1 could eventually transfer to human carriers, which would lead to an apocalyptic scenario. Fortunately, 1000 appears to instinctively avoid human contact. The highest known population concentrations of 1000 are in the Pacific Northwest region of North America and the Himalayan mountain range in Asia. But they have also been documented within the past 5 years on every continent. All known significant populations of 1000 located near human population centers have been eliminated. SCP-1000 was first known by the Foundation via contact by the Children of the Sun. The Children of the Sun is a group of people who identified themselves as outcast members of the Serpent's Hand. This group has since been completely destroyed by the Foundation due to their reluctance to surrender information about SCP-1000 and other SCP. Remaining members have either joined the Foundation or have gone into hiding, presumably as members of the Serpent's Hand. All media reports related to 1000 are to be examined for potential verifiability. All organizations and individuals investigating 1000's existence are to be kept under surveillance by Mobile Task Force Zeta-1000 and discredited or administered amnestics. All physical signs of 1000's existence must be retrieved and kept in Foundation custody and replaced with decoy items if necessary. Alleged sightings of 1000 must always be investigated by MTF Zeta-1000, however trivial the claim. Absolutely no contact with wild or captive instances of 1000 is allowed, without prior approval by Director Jones. Any interaction between SCP-1000 and humans, including Foundation personnel, must be reported to Director Jones immediately. Personnel with clearance level 3/1000 or above are required to read Document Alpha 1596-1000. Level 3 clearance required. You are attempting to access a Security Level 3 file. You have been warned. Displaying SCP-1000 Clearance Level 3. Document Alpha 1596-1000 is a letter written by Director Jones revealing the truth about SCP-1000, which means all information I mentioned previously is not entirely true. Yes, SCP-1000 is Bigfoot. I'm sure you've snickered. Don't worry, contrary to rumors, this is actually not something humorous. You think Bigfoot is funny because we want you to think Bigfoot is funny. We've bankrolled Hollywood comedies, paid off men in gorilla suits, bribed and brainwashed cartoonists to get especially silly depictions on children's television. Even the term Bigfoot comes from us, planted in the media in 1958. Why? We'll get to that. There are 2 direct lies, and plenty of lies of omission. There is no such thing as the anomalous pseudo-disease referred to as SCP-1000-F1. 1000 does not possess a magical death aura. And they are not chimp-level smart. They're smarter. To be precise, they are exactly as smart as us. And that's exactly why the report is filled with lies, and why it's categorized as a Keter object. SCP-1000 did evolve alongside humans. They work in the nighttime while we humans operate in the daytime, and that's how the name, the Children of the Sun, came from. But while we were still hunting and gathering, they made things that we still can't comprehend, like shining cities that stretched across glaciers and penetrating the deepest caverns. They made trees and birds of prey grow into fast-moving ships, herds of animals that became trains, bushes that became flying vehicles. From insects and pigeons, they made things equivalent to cell phones, televisions, computers, atomic bombs. Part of this was due to SCP-1000's population exploded across the night, and they blanketed the planet in the tens of billions. We were rare, like gorillas now, a few 100,000 left at best. We avoided their settlements, just like wild animals today avoid ours. 1000 understood we were intelligent like them. They saw us as fairies, as gnomes, ascribed us supernatural powers, said we ate bad children while they slept in daylight. Then, SCP-1000 civilization fell, and humanity was the cause of it. We wiped out 70% of SCP-1000's population in a single day. People call it the Day of Flowers, because most of the instances of 1000 died in their sleep on the day every flower bloomed. As for how, the only hint is that a trickster forest god showed humanity favor, gave us the master's tools, and showed us how to use them. The reasons why our ancestors did it are still unknown. Perhaps SCP-1000 hunted us. Perhaps they were simply afraid. We simply do not know what the truth is. But humans went further than just killing them, and somehow acquired SCP-1000's own technology. And with it, they instigated an SK-class dominance shift, in which humanity became the dominant species of Earth. With a few of the more twisted of SCP-1000's devices, they drove the survivors mad, even those hiding beyond their reach. They trapped them in their own minds, blocking higher functions and leaving their bodies to fend for themselves like any ordinary ape. They slaughtered their living machines and burned their vast shining cities with SCP-1000's bioweapons that reduced everything to slurry and dust, that washed or blew away in spring rain and wind. Our ancestors left no traces, not even their own memory. They wiped out any knowledge of 1000 and the greatest civilization the planet had ever seen. Only a few humans protected themselves from the effect, kept the forbidden knowledge, just in case. The rest of the humans went back to hunting and gathering. Now the real problem is that 1000 are somehow regaining their forgotten intelligence and knowledge. Maybe they never truly lost it. This is why the increase in sightings of them is so worrying. 1000 are just like us. That's exactly what makes them so dangerous. Instances of 1000 have tried to make contact with Foundation personnel on multiple occasions. The following is a rough translation of recent SCP-1000 attempt at communication with Foundation personnel. We forgive you. Given choice for now, not forever. Let us back in.